Good evening, church. So today I have a poem entitled Mindful. And it just talks about, if you read Psalm 8, it says, who is man that you are mindful of him? Who is he that you visit him? Who is he that you talk to him? And in light of the works of his hand in the heavens and all that he does, it's really crazy. So as I speak this poem, please be blessed. Lord, when I think about the works of your imagination, I find that there is nothing like your six-day creation, no imitation, no counterfeit for the manifestation of your meditation. It is a collection of art spoken into divine presentation. It is light, it is life reflected upon the canvas of creation with just your exhalation, and it's breathtaking. You placed the stars in the sky so that we could call them constellations. You made the sun and the moon as bodies of illumination. You made the beasts and the vegetation, the mountains and valleys at every elevation. Yet in all of this, you gave the keys of your habitation to man. Who is man? Man that you know his going out and his coming in, his highest hopes and his deepest sins. The deeper sins that grow deeper still, yet you choose to stay with him. You watch over him like the sparrow. You know the hairs on his head and the length of his days. You know the depths of his heart and the error of his ways. You know about the path that he's paved, with empty smiles and deceptive ways that seem to sand down his heart until it's cracked and caved. You see him drowning. And the storms of life that he thought that he could weather on his own, and whether or not he is deserving of your love, because your thoughts towards him outnumber the sands of the sea, you walk out on the water just to meet with him. Oh, such knowledge is too lofty for me to attain, because if I did, I would go insane, racking my brain as a sinner, trying to reconcile the fact that the wages of sin should have been the death of me. But that's just why Jesus had to go to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he prayed for me. Where he prayed for us, a world that was sick and without remedy. Blood, sweat, and tears would be his answer medically. These things he shed alone on the night for the King of Kings. We were sleeping, so on bowed head and bended knee, his words spoke out to heaven like an elegy. And as he contemplated the cup that he had to drink, it literally tore apart his being. Blood poured from his pores and it painted the trees. And in a moment like that, I would think that you wouldn't want to pay our fees. But you counted it all joy to think of me, to think of us, and say, God, your will and not my own. And to prepare your mind to endure the cross and die for your enemies. Oh, you thought about this before the rooster would crow and Peter would deny everything, before they would crucify you for all to see, convict you of heresy, before a crown of thorns would cut through your sores, before a scourge of whips would crack down your back, and you would be so disfigured that your own mother could not recognize you. Before you were bruised for our iniquities, before you were wounded for our transgressions, before you were pushed in between two pieces of wood in a crowd that just days earlier chose to praise you with palm fronds, would cry, would you? And could you? And won't you come down and heal yourself? Won't you come down and defend yourself? Born King of the Jews, questions you could not answer. For you were sent as a sheep to the slaughter. You were forsaken by the Father. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. You could have called legions of angels to save you, but instead you stayed there. You allowed yourself to be pierced with spears to bring out water that ushered in sons and daughters into the kingdom. I was one of them. And it's crazy to think about it. You purchased me with your final breath when I had nothing to offer. With that blood that you shed, you wrote my story, making Jesus the author. And good Father, It's such a crazy thing. You put rings on our fingers. You clothe us with robes on our backs. You put shoes on our feet. And you run to go kiss us. You don't look back. And it is crazy that you do all these things just so that we know that you're mindful of us. And that's something that you would go to any length to show. Thank you.